We interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you some breaking news. There's been reports all over the area of something crazy going on, something big. People's homes, their minds even, are being taken over by something called, what is it they're calling it? They're calling it Bad Movie Debate.
What up, nerds? It's Bad Movie Debate. We're back with another debate episode. It's me, Jacob Babb. Been a little while since we've recorded, but that's because I was busy getting married, and that's very distracting and takes up a lot of time. But now that that's all said and done, here we are. We can get back to putting out episodes more regularly, hopefully, now that all that is done. It was a great day. It was very fun, very happy, yada, yada, yada. But it's very distracting to try to get other stuff done. So it's me, Jacob Babb, and with me I have Ashley Whitaker. Ashley, say what up.
Hello.
That's not what I told you to say, Ashley. You said hello. I said say what up, but that's fine.
What up? Okay.
There you go. Just trying to get you into the mindset of like we're arguing. We're friends, but we're gonna be arguing. About one hell of a movie, let me tell you.
Had you ever seen it before?
Oh, I've seen this movie like 15 million times.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, I seen this movie for sure. I've seen this movie a lot actually, but I haven't seen it in a while. But it is what it is. All right, yeah, the movie we're going to be doing is Jumper with Hayden Christensen, one of the only other movies he did after the prequels. This was not one of the best ones to go for, unfortunately. But we'll get into all that. We'll get into Jumper and all that. First, we're going to go over, I said sci-fi action is kind of the only really good way to put this. It's hard to say thriller. A lot of places said like it's a sci-fi action thriller, but I took that off because it's not that thrilling in my opinion. But there is a lot of action, so we'll go with sci-fi action. So what are your top 5 sci-fi action movies, Ashley, that you got on your little list there?
So I looked at some similar movies, and for some reason, like space movies and like alien movies kept coming up.
Yeah, there's a lot of that when I Googled sci-fi action movies. It's like mostly that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So Cloverfield Lane.
Oh, yeah.
That was my number 1. Interstellar, of course. Arrival, I really liked that one.
That's a great movie.
And then Alien and The Thing just kind of have to be there.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And then an honorable mention is A Quiet Place because it was just so good.
Quiet Place is really good, and that's actually on my list because that's definitely like a sci-fi action thriller that's good. That's really, really good.
Yeah.
So I agree with all of those. I've already said The Thing and Alien and Interstellar for a bunch of other stuff. So I'll try to avoid some of those like repeats and do something a little different. So A Quiet Place is definitely on my list as well. But then I'm going to say The Fifth Element with Bruce Willis. You know that one?
No, I've never seen that one.
Oh, it's so freaking... It's super fucking weird. It's super fucking weird, but it's really good. That one's got like a lot of action, like gunfire, like shooting, chasing people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to say... where did it go? I just had it a second ago. Oh, Mad Max Fury Road. For sure, dude. That one is so damn good.
That's a good one.
Love that movie. And then Edge of Tomorrow, the Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt movie, where they like, it's like kind of a Groundhog Day movie where they like repeat the same day over and over again. They're like trying to beat these like robots or like aliens in robots or something like that. That was surprisingly good. I remember watching that in college with, I think Kyle and Nick. Justin may have been there too. And we were all like, that was really good. Like, I thought that was going to not be that good. But
yeah.
it is really good.
Tom Cruise, you never know.
Exactly. It's very hit or miss with fucking Tom Cruise. So that was good. So that's my third one. And then I'm going to also throw in there, I think I could throw Blade Runner in on an action, sci-fi action thriller. Blade Runner. I'm going to say Blade Runner 1 and Blade Runner 2049, both of them as one thing, because they're really good to watch back to back if you have 4.5 hours of being kind of bored until it gets really good. For both.
Yeah.
Because it's like they're both really good, but they're very boring for like a lot of it, but it's like, wow, it's so good once you get done watching it. It's like that type 2 fun that Nick's always talking about with like camping and backpacking and stuff, where it's not that fun while you're watching it, but then like it's really good once you're done. You're like, that was great. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And then one more. I'm kind of doing this on the fly. Oh, that's a good one. I forgot to write these down before, so I'm looking right now. But Life. Did you ever see Life with Jake Gyllenhaal, Ryan Reynolds, Rebecca Ferguson?
No.
That one's really good too. I actually
Life.
rewatched that one not too long ago. It's like they're like on the ISS, and they get some kind of weird little like amoeba type alien thing they like discover, and they're like, oh shit, this is the greatest scientific discovery of all time, and of course shit goes wrong from there. But it's really, really good. Actually, Ryan Reynolds is not as Ryle. He has a splash of himself in there, but he's like actually acting in this. And he's actually pretty good when he's actually trying and not just playing himself.
Yeah.
So that's always good. So that's my top 5. So I think we're both off to a pretty good start. You named like all the 5 that you named are probably some of my favorite movies of all time. If I'm being honest. So yeah, I think we know what we're doing here for sure.
Hopefully so. And I looked up the director too, because I was like, I want to see what he's directed before. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which is just a good action movie.
That is a good action movie.
I don't know how to say this, but like the Bourne Identity movies.
Yeah.
He directed those too. And he's also working on a Tom Cruise / SpaceX project currently that isn't even titled yet. And I was like, I need to know what that is.
Yeah. Okay. So like Elon Musk's SpaceX?
I don't know. It said, so it was untitled Tom Cruise / SpaceX project is what it said.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I guess we'll need to keep an eye on him, because
for sure.
That's really interesting. Yeah, we'll need to come back to that. like I need news about that like almost immediately.
Yes.
That's wow. Okay, that's wild. But unfortunately, we're talking about a real stinker today with Jumper, which has a 15% on Rotten Tomatoes, the critic score, the tomato meter, if you will, and a 44% audience score, which is really bad when they both don't vibe on that. This is one of the worst ones. I think this is one of the worst rated ones I've ever had on the show.
Oh my god, and I think it's so good. Like it is.
I know you do. I know you do, and it's just not.
Even on the rewatch, I was like, you know what? This is good. I stand by it.
So, was it one of those things where you were like kind of nervous, like, damn, maybe this isn't going to be as good as I remember it, but you were like, no, it's still it held up for you just fine.
It held up, yeah.
Okay, we'll see. And then IMDb, of course, 6.1 out of 10, middle of the road, as always. And then we have the Metacritic 35 Metascore, so extremely negative. And then the users gave it an 8.9, actually, which is very weird. I thought they would have been a lot lower. It's mostly positive on there, which is truly shocking for Metacritic. They're usually like the meanest critics out of everybody. And speaking of mean critics, there's only 2 good reviews on Rotten Tomatoes from top critics that are like actually people who get paid to write reviews, you know. And there's only 2 good ones, so I'm gonna go with this one. I thought this one was a little bit better. So it's Mark Savlov, maybe, for the Austin Chronicle said, quote, Jumper is pretty slick, entertaining stuff, well crafted by Lyman, edited into a tight, action-packed bundle of nervousness. Or nerviness, rather. Bundle of nerviness. End quote. So, like, he liked it. He thought it was slick, entertaining, and edited well, and action-packed fun, is what that guy said. And I'm like, okay. I tend to agree more with Wesley Morris for the Boston Globe, who said, quote, "This movie should be playing on the CW between episodes of Reaper and One Tree Hill."
Okay.
There were so many good, bad reviews, but that one really hit. Like the fact that he's like, "This is a CW show." I was like, "Oh my god, that's what it is. It's a fucking CW show."
I don't know that I could argue with that, but it's still good.
Yeah, but if you like CW shows, that's like not that's not an insult, you know.
Exactly.
Like I personally don't think I've ever watched anything on the CW that was good, except for when they aired reruns of that '70s show. But like none of their like original programming was very entertaining.
Riverdale's like a pretty wild ride. I didn't finish it, but
see, that's.
I don't finish any shows though.
That's fair.
Yeah, but
that's fair.
Pretty good.
Yeah. All right.
Wild.
If you say so. All right. So now it's time to get into our actual thoughts, and I'm gonna throw you a curveball. You're saying you like it, and I'm saying I don't. What's one thing you did not like or don't like about the movie? And I'll say the one thing I do like it, which took me a minute to come up with. My one thing I did like.
So, Hayden Christensen, that's how you say that. He's just such like a little whiny bitch when he gets hit. Like every single time he gets hit, he just like makes it so much worse. I don't know what it is.
Well, part of the problem with that is I think because this was after at least Attack of the Clones. This was after Attack of the Clones. I don't know when Revenge came out, but anyway, it was after those, and a lot of people gave him shit for his acting, and would call him like Mannequin Anakin because he had like no emotion, and he didn't have like any emotion in the Star Wars movies, and so I feel like maybe he upped it a little bit in this one is what he was going for. He was like, I'm gonna really act hard on this movie, and it all just kind of came out when he got hit.
Yeah.
So,
did you notice that too? Like, was that just 100%? Me? Okay, good.
No, because I wanted my one thing going into it to be like, well, at least Hayden Christensen does a good job, you know, because like people gave him shit, but I always thought he was great in Star Wars. Like I always loved him, like no matter what and stuff. But I was like, no, he really doesn't do that great, like in this movies, and like that. I did have that thought of like, yeah, he really does not know how to take a hit, does he? Without bitching and moaning about it the entire time.
Yes.
Like whining about it like a little baby, which is hilarious.
I didn't like the guy who was supposed to be kind of like the comedic relief. I think he didn't do that. Like it was just kind of awkward.
Yeah, the British dude who we like barely get his name. I think it's Griffin or Griffith is his name. That guy, but like you barely get his name. Like like I couldn't remember anybody's name except for his, just because you asked. His name, Hayden Christensen's David. That's his name.
I forgot.
Samuel Jackson's name is black guy with white hair. Because I don't think they ever give. If they give him a name, Roland. Okay, I was like, they referred to him as black guy with white hair more than his actual name.
Yeah,
I'm pretty positive. Did. And then Millie is the girl.
Yeah, Millie.
Or something like that. Yeah, and then there was Bully Guy, who does have a name, but I can't remember it. Who calls him? What does he call him? He calls him something so stupid. His bully that threw the thing in the lake that made him discover his powers. I can't remember what he calls him. He calls him something
rice bowl or something.
Yeah, rice bowl, like rice ball or something. Like, what does that mean?
I don't know, and they don't explain it at all.
No, there's no fucking context for why he calls him that. Like,
no,
it's just like we have to give the bully a name so when we see him later when they're grown up, he can call him that again, and people will be like, "Oh yeah, that's the bully." But like, just call him something else. Like literally any other word probably would have been better.
Yeah,
but that's fine. I will say the thing that I did like, and then I'll continue to shred into it. The only thing I really like is like the concept of the movie. Like I like the idea of like, because it's based off of a comic book. And I like the concept of like there's people who can teleport, and then there's paladins, as the bad guys are called, who are on a crusade to destroy them because only God should have that power or whatever. Like that's a pretty cool premise, but it's just so poorly executed in this movie. I wonder if the comic is better. I hope it is. It's got to be, right? Like it has to be. I guess it could not be, but like that's the only thing I really liked is like the general concept of the movie is pretty rad.
Have you seen Looper?
Yes, it's been a while, but I've seen Looper.
It's like very similar. Like even when I was trying to describe the movie that I was going to do this, I was getting it confused with Looper because they're so similar.
Well, I mean, they're literally called Looper and Jumper, and like you can jump through a loop or like jump a loop. Yeah. So like that makes it even more fucking confusing. I don't know. But yeah, the concept's cool. But other than that, that's pretty much where I draw the line. I really hate, one of the things I wrote down that I hate when movies do this in general, is his narration, like kind of explaining his whole thing. It's not very well written, and he sounds like a complete and total douchebag, which I guess he is a kind of a douchebag at the beginning of the movie, or like arguably throughout the entire movie, he's a douchebag. Yeah. So like I didn't like it, but I also hate when movies narrate at the beginning and then don't really ever narrate again. Like there's like a narration to give us some exposition at the beginning, and then like I feel like I'm misremembering it, and there was a couple of narrations like in the middle somewhere, but like there's definitely not any narration at the end. The movie just ends whenever they're done and stuff. And I'm just like, you have to bookend. At the very least, you have to bookend. If you're going to narrate at the beginning, you have to narrate at the end, and they just don't do that. Like I'm almost positive there's only narration at the beginning, which is a really cheap, like
it's like a lazy way.
It's a lazy, cheap way to give us a bunch of exposition at the beginning of the movie when we could have just made this 1.5 hour long movie 10 minutes longer and had done it by showing instead of straight up telling and stuff. Like that's bad just from the get-go. Yeah. Like I don't like when things narrate, because it's like you're too dumb. The audience is either too dumb to figure it out by just the context of what they're watching in the movie, or they're too lazy to figure out how to show it in a different way. Like I could have gotten that he jumps and he steals and that's how he's rich. Cool. Like that's all he really is explaining. But then they're just showing his personality, but his personality sucks in the narration at the beginning. Like I'm like, this guy fucking blows. Like
yes, there was a few different lines that I wrote down that I was like, what?
Like come on.
Like did you really just say that?
What were they? Give me one at least.
This is as far as we go together. I'm like, she didn't ask for this. She did not ask for you to do this.
Oh my God, dude. Yeah, that whole scene at the airport when he's like, you gotta go, like, as far as I go. Like, bitch, what? She was like, I was at my job, like, yesterday in fucking Ann Arbor, like, where they're from. Like, she's like, I was at my bartending job yesterday, and now you're telling me to go home by myself from Rome. Yeah. Because some fucked up shit's going on that you're not explaining to me, and you have a fucking, like, so much cash in your backpack right now, and you're clearly a criminal of some sort. Like, that's insane. What's that?
Yeah, I was just like, what is he talking about? And he's like kind of making it her fault. Yeah. And then when he goes, it was always you. When
oh my God,
she's like leaving, and it's like, okay, but you disappeared. Like she thought you died. You show up, you're doing all this crazy stuff, and then you're acting like it's her fault.
Yeah.
That she wants to go home when you just got in this major fight in front of her.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just wild.
No, he's a complete and total piece of shit. Like,
yeah, definitely fuckboy vibes.
Yeah, fuckboy vibes. And again, why the CW quote is so apt. Like he's written like he's a. So I did the math because he's 15 when he disappears, like die whatever, and then it says then Roland is like, I've been looking for you for 8 years. So that means he's 20. What is that? He's 23 years old. Yeah, he's 23 years old. And it's like, you're 23 years old and you're talking like you're still talking like you're 15. Like,
yeah, it's like,
and just
ugh.
like one of the first thing he does when he jumps, like when we catch up and like the shitty narration is ending, he jumps over to London and just bangs a chick like immediately, and then
Yeah.
just goes back home,
They're
like
like,
and
he's
stuff. And it's just like,
experienced life.
yeah,
It's
like
kind
yeah,
of what they're trying to convey.
yeah, he knows how to go to a bar and pick up some blonde woman and stuff. Like, okay,
He's
cool.
matured.
Yeah, he's super mature. Like he knows what he's doing. Like whatever. His apartment's cool as fuck. Like his place that he stays in is nice as hell.
That's true. Like, I would have been more interested to know, like, did he adopt a different identity?
No,
like
that's
that
the crazy
kind of
thing.
stuff.
He still goes by his fucking name.
Yeah.
Like that's
And he's just supposed to be dead. That doesn't make any sense.
Legit don't think I've written down the word stupid more than I wrote it down for these notes. I wrote so many things like this is stupid, that was stupid, this is stupid, that's stupid. I was so mad. And like Austin watched it with me and she was like the trailer was kind of playing before, so she was like, I'm into it, like could be cool. And by the end she was like, yeah, that was pretty shit. She was like, that was disappointing for me. And I was like, I told you it's not good.
I knew it was going to be good when the hotel guy says no weird stuff and he like smirks and then it cuts.
Yeah.
It's like, yes.
Like, yeah.
This is what I'm here for.
God, just complete opposite ends of what we want in a movie like this, I guess. And then so once he like his first bank job, when he like first steals from the bank, like 2 days after running away or whatever, in the same town, or New York, I guess he goes to New York. Austin actually pointed it out when he goes in to rob the bank. He goes in and is like, is there a bathroom for customers? He's clearly not a customer. First of all, we know that he's 15. Like it's 2008, so he's not a customer probably, or it's even before 2008 because the movie takes place in 2008. And then he, the security guard takes him down by the vault to go to the what is supposed to be the public bathroom. That's not how banks work. Like Austin literally said, "What bank is like that? Like what bank works like that?" And I was like, none of them. None of them do.
None of them do.
Because he has to like see the place he's going to before he goes. Like that's like the only little bit of lore that they don't explain that like they do show and not tell. Well, I guess they say it by the end of it, but like it's implied like you have to have been there before, and then you can jump or see it like with your own eyes. Then you can jump wherever and stuff. Or he has all those pictures of stuff like. But then he talks to Griffith about how he has jump sites in Tokyo. Why are we walking and stuff? And it's like, so do you have to physically go there first? Or like it, none of that is established, which is also driving me crazy as someone who needs answers. Like there's a way to give me those answers and not ruin the movie.
Well, there was supposed to be a sequel. So like,
you don't give the lore in the second one. You have to give the lore and how the world works in the first movie.
I mean, most of it.
The second movie.
You can leave out some stuff. There's got to be like some little nuggets. Yeah, I mean,
if there's like new discoveries or whatever, sure, or like a new like angle or something, like that's fine. But like the like basic parameters have to be set up, and we don't know like how do they jump. Like, because he looks at the picture of the Empire State Building and he accidentally jumps there because he's been there with his mom, and then he goes to the bank, sees the vault, and then goes. But then he has a bunch of pictures in his apartment of places, but it's never like fully established, like yes or no, like do you have to go or not, which drives me crazy. But going back to the bank thing, so he goes to do the bank. He's like, I'm going to jump into the bank and like steal a bunch of money because I'm 15 and poor or whatever. He jumps into it. He has a fucking beanie on and a jacket with a hood and no mask on his face. And he jumps straight into the vault, takes a bunch of money out and stuff like that. And in what world is there a bank that has a vault that doesn't have security cameras in it?
Well,
there's got to be security cameras in those bank vaults, right? Like,
well, wouldn't it be on the outside of the bank vault?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how a fucking bank works, but like I feel like they have them inside of the bank vaults as well to make
They
sure.
probably
Like
do now, but maybe in like 2008.
I mean, you got to make sure that like the people who drop off like you know like the like what are they called like the armored vehicles and stuff who like take money and move money around and stuff, like you know what I mean, like you got to make
Yeah.
sure those people aren't pocketing anything, like people aren't pocketing stuff. Like I get that there's some level of privacy because there's like those like security boxes in there that's like people's priceless heirlooms or whatever, and like or like really important documentation about your secret family, you know, and like you don't want that, like you can't have that on camera. So maybe there's a level
Yeah.
of like there's like a level of like privacy once you're in the vault, like looking at your box or whatever. But like I don't know, I just feel like it would have been very easy to be like, yeah, it was that kid. Like that security guard would have been like, yeah, I recognize that kid. I let him go into the bathroom and stuff. Like give a full description. Like this is what that kid looked like. Like, yeah, that I recognize him. Like,
And
I
they
don't
would
know.
have known how he did it too, like that he
And he
just
jumped-
appeared
And
and
he
then disappeared.
and he accidentally jumped into the bathroom first.
Oh yeah.
He accidentally jumps into the Okay, so actually that's a question. Did he jump into the bathroom and then walk into the? No, he had to have jumped into the vault because it was locked. But like
Yeah.
he accidentally jumps into the bathroom and destroys the bathroom. And then when Roland comes the next day to investigate, that no fucking comment about that. About how also the bathroom was completely destroyed.
That's
Is that
completely
related?
unrelated.
Like, no,
completely unrelated.
Batman's bathroom blows up all the time. Literally. I'm not talking people dropping nasty shits blow up, but like it's literally exploded all the time. Like, no, that's stupid. Like, oh, it drives me, like makes me so mad. So I hate that. And that's the very beginning of the movie. That's like the first time he jumps.
Yeah, but
Second
the fight
time.
scenes were good. Like that
No,
first
they weren't.
fight scene.
Which first fight scene? The one in Rome, in the Colosseum or whatever?
No, the one in the apartment.
One in the apartment. Oh,
And
with
his-
him and just Sam Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like, well, because Samuel Jackson's a competent actor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I like Hayden Christensen, but that's when the pain, like the weird pain moans start, is in that scene. So, you know.
Yeah, but like he's so cute though. You know?
I mean, yeah, I agree, but like that doesn't make the movie good. You know what I mean? Like
It helps. It helps. It doesn't hurt it.
It doesn't hurt it by any means. Like I'm not denying that. Like it doesn't hurt, but it doesn't help enough is what I'm getting into. But you said like about talking about the jumping and like you would have seen him just jump in there and like been like, oh my god, there's somebody who can teleport and stuff. He jumps in front of so many people all the fucking time, and he's the only one in the world who can do it. And like he jumps in, like when he goes and steals like the surfing equipment to go surfing while he's in London, and then like jump and then teleports to Aruba where the actual storm hit or whatever and stuff. Like he goes up to that little like a surf shack and just teleports behind the front door and steals a bunch of stuff in his everyday clothes. And I know that place has fucking security cameras in it inside.
Yeah, it did
what
make me
fucking
think.
place doesn't have security cameras in their fucking place of business? Like
It did make
what
me
the
think
fuck?
it was older. Like I was like, maybe this movie is older than I thought because
They've had security footage in buildings for decades. Like
exactly. I'm
like-
like, maybe they just didn't use those as much as I thought. Like I was starting to question that because
no, CCTV has been around since at least the 80s inside of buildings, inside of stores. Like there's no fucking way. And then going off of that, when we finally meet Griffith and he's all like telling him he can't be so willy-nilly about jumping and like needs to be careful because like there's these things called paladins who are gonna come and kill us. He fucking steals a Mercedes-Benz Corvette in Tokyo and then is driving down the street super fast, jumping the car from one lane to another as they hit traffic. Like just so blatant and obvious and stuff. And like, so this British dude's gonna yell at Hayden Christensen about how cavalier and nonchalant he is about jumping, right? But then we're going to immediately see him do something that's the most conspicuous thing you could ever do, which is steal a Mercedes-Benz, again, a place that has security cameras. And then he's going to jump the car from one lane to another through traffic in front of, they're in Tokyo, thousands of people who are on the street. And that's totally fine and doesn't contradict what he just said. Fucking stupid. I'm so mad.
Crazy stuff happens in Tokyo like all the time, probably. Like that's probably not even, they wouldn't even notice that.
This isn't a Godzilla movie. They're gonna notice that. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
but you have to think too, if there's more of them, then maybe it's like less noticeable. Like if people are kind of disappearing all around you and like weird stuff is happening, maybe you kind of collectively as a society are like, this happens sometimes and we just don't know why.
No. No.
Okay, that's right.
No. Like I'm not just gonna say no. I'm gonna come with another point. Then why does Samuel Jackson have to go be like, I'm CIA, I'm FBI, I'm NSA, and lie and have all these fake credentials to like investigate what he thinks are jumpers, instead of just being like, I'm from the anti-jumper coalition. Like it's attached to the United Nations. We have criminals who have superpowers and we need to stop them. Give me all of your stuff and information so I can track this jumper down. Like,
it's,
you know what I mean?
It's kind of like Aliens. It's like, okay, we know it's a thing, but we're not going to come out and tell you it's a thing. And also, he was an IRS agent at one point, and that was just too much for me.
Well, that was horrifying. And of course he does it to his dad, who's like a drunk and like obviously not well off and stuff. So like, yeah, you gotta let him in. Like you gotta let that guy in. He's the IRS.
It's like, dark outside. Why
also
is the IRS?
The IRS does not come at night, and they contact you first through the mail. So
yes.
Fun fact, if you ever get an email or a phone call from somebody claiming they are from the IRS and you owe a bunch of money, it is a scam. They will contact you by the U.S. Postal Service first. So if you haven't gotten anything from the IRS through the mail, if somebody's calling you, emailing you, texting you that they're from the IRS, it is bullshit. And if it's not, guess what? They will eventually come knocking on your door, and then you'll be like, well, I thought it was a scam, so I didn't do it, which is the right thing to do. So in summary, fuck the IRS and just ignore them as much as you can. Please don't. I may have to edit that out because they're scared. But that's fine. I'm gonna leave it in. I'm gonna risk it.
I think it's a PSA. You know, people need to know. I think
it's a PSA. Like that's truth. But like, I might need to take out the fuck the IRS part. That part. That's kind of a.
We don't want to anger them. You know.
Nah, it's fine. It's fine. I'll let y'all know if they come knocking. Anyway, yeah, so that's my rebuttal to like, oh, you know, like people just, you know, it happens sometimes and people are kind of okay with it. Like, no, there would be like a branch of the United Nations that was the like anti-jumper coalition or some stupid name like that. And they would be like, we're here to help you solve this crime because at this point it has to be a jumper because none of this makes any sense. So I disagree with that claim.
I stand by it.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it though. That just makes if that's the world that they all live in, then everybody in that world is stupid. Even the people just walking on the street, just like going to get lunch. Like you're just okay with that. You're not gonna question that. Like you're not gonna find out more about that. You're not gonna write your congressman about that. Why are people teleporting all the time? What the fuck is this? Like, please somebody give me answers. Like call a scientist. Like I don't know, something. Yeah, I hate it. I hate it. And then one thing I do really dislike too about the beginning of the movie when his lazy ass sits on the couch and then jumps half a section over to get the remote that's on the other side of the couch. First of all, fuck you, dude. Like that's so annoying. They spent all the money on like that effect that they could, like the editing of that and stuff. And the jumping does look good when they do it and stuff. Like that editing is really good, I will say. They did a really good job with like the actual visualization of that in the movie. So good for them. But he goes on the TV and he's like flipping through bullshit, and then it's like, oh, all these people are stranded in a flood. Only a miracle could be able to get to them and stuff. And it kind of teases like, ooh, maybe he could use his powers for good and be like a superhero kind of a thing. And then he just goes, anyway, and then goes and fucks a woman in London, and then there's no other mention about how he could do anything for good except for saving his girlfriend, and that's it. And like, it's like, okay, so we're just gonna tease that he could be a superhero and then just not ever talk about it again, because why would he do that when he could just be stealing money and banging chicks? Like,
well, they kind of tease it again too, because when he gets the wetsuit for surfing, because you're kind of like, oh, he's getting a wetsuit so he can go there and save those people. And then he just goes surfing.
No, he goes surfing, and then those guys are like, yeah, the storms aren't here, bro. The swells are like 30 feet out in Aruba because that's where the storm actually hit. And then cut to him surfing those fucking righteous swells, dude. And then fucking teleporting away, leaving his board in the ocean, littering in the ocean directly. Pissing me off. Oh, I did also have it seems that he eats his lunch every day on the head of the Sphinx. That seems like where like he eats his lunch there almost every day. Is kind of the vibe I got. There's two things wrong with that. One, the Sphinx and the pyramids are within eyesight of the metropolis that is Cairo today. Like, you can see it is not in the middle of the desert. Cairo is right there. So anybody looking out of their apartment or any kind of high vantage point could see that there is a person on the Sphinx, which is highly illegal. And then two, when he jumps he accidentally jumps, or he jumps the dude in Rome, one of the police guys, when his mom comes in and she's like, you have 30 seconds to leave, unlock yourself and leave. And then like an idiot, he doesn't unlock himself from the fucking chair and just runs after her. And then the guy comes back to grab him. He jumps him to the top of the Sphinx and his chair is still sitting there. So he leaves his chair there on the Sphinx because he goes back there regularly enough. And you're telling me no one in the world noticed that?
Okay.
The Sphinx and the pyramids are some of the most like guarded places. They will see a fucking lawn chair sitting on top of the head of the Sphinx, which is let me remind you, out of those four massive like marvels of ancient architecture, that's the shortest one. So that's the easiest one to see that there's something on the top. Like, you could see it from the ground about 100 yards away. You would be able to see there's a chair up there. Like, I mean, come on.
You're not wrong. I had that thought too.
I know,
but
it's one of the only things I'm for sure about in this movie.
And
do bank vaults have cameras? Maybe, I don't know, but I know for a fact somebody would see that fucking chair.
Yeah, that you got me there. That one's true. Like, I can't argue with that.
I was like, I have to bring that up, like, because I don't know. What do you got for me? I've been saying a lot of shit, and you've been mostly agreeing with me.
I mean, okay,
then saying that you still like the movie. So
I still like the movie. I think that it like it has a good story, and it's a really cool concept. Like, I really like the idea of the jumping.
Yes.
And I do think it would have been better if there were like a part 2, if it was one like. They didn't really do part 2s that often back then. I feel like it was like mainly sequels. So like, if it would have had an opportunity for a part 2, I think it would have kind of explained more.
I mean, yeah. But that's the thing. Like, you can't like do a I don't know. You can't like bank on there being a second movie. You know what I mean? Like, you have to have it.
Dune Part 1.
No, okay, that was
written
with the intention of being
exactly what I'm saying. If they had, if that was a thing back then, then they would have done that.
But it wasn't, and they didn't need to. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You're telling me you want 4.5 hours of Jumper, just the one movie?
No.
There's no way.
I want an hour and a half of a part 1 and an hour and a half of a part 2.
That's still 3 hours of fucking Jumper, and that is way too much.
Well,
I just need like 30 more minutes for a little bit more like exposition and like world building, and I would be like, it's better now.
Well, the mom storyline was interesting too, like the idea.
And so irrelevant, honestly.
No, well, they just didn't. It would have been in the part 2.
I knew you were gonna say that.
But like they kind of teased it. It really ended on like that there's gonna be another one. And so I think that's why I liked it so much when I was younger, because of the anticipation of like the second movie.
Mm-hmm.
But the fight scenes were good. I think the story was good. I do not think it deserves, what was it, like a 16%?
15.
15. I don't think it's that bad. I think it's definitely at least like a good, okay movie.
So what would you give it percentage-wise, if not a 15? If you say anything over 40%, I'm going to scream.
I would say like maybe like a 56.
Oh my God.
Like it had all the, it was at least visually pleasing.
Again, they did a good job with the like jumping mechanic in the movie. Like that looked good and that worked. I'll give you that. But
yeah, if they would have screwed that up. Yeah.
But the writing, you know, which is arguably the second most important. The first thing you want is to make it look good. The second thing you want is the writing. If you're doing a big budget movie. If you're doing a small budget thing, if the story's good and it doesn't look that great, well, at least the story was good. But that's neither here or there. I do have a comment about the mom storyline. Mm-hmm. First and foremost, so his sister is Kristen Stewart.
Yes, there were so many people in this movie. Like the girl from Bridge to Terabithia, I was like, what is going on?
Wait, who's the girl from Bridge to Terabithia?
Little Millie.
Yeah, who in this movie in Jumper. Yeah. Who is that girl?
Millie, the little Millie.
Oh, she's the girl from Bridge to Terabithia? Really?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
No, there's no way. Hold up, we're gonna live fact check. Hold up.
I can't remember her name.
Where were we? Jumper. Fuck. I know I've seen her before, but I don't think it was that. Oh, this is taking so long. Let's see. Her name is she Jamie Bell?
That sounds right.
No, she's Rachel Bilson.
No, Rachel Bilson is older Millie. This is young Millie.
Oh, the little girl Millie. Okay, yeah, sure. I did recognize her too, and I couldn't tell. That's what Austin said. She was like, "Who's this? Who is that girl?" Like, I recognize her, and I didn't realize. Okay, so yeah, fair enough. And then his mom is I shouldn't have closed out that tab. His mom is fucking Diane Lane, right? Like, isn't that who that is? Or am I crazy?
I think so. I know I've seen her in multiple other things.
No, she's like a top good ass fucking actress. Let's see. Why is Kristen Stewart higher than her? Oh fuck, what's his mom's name? No, it is Diane Lane. Okay, there she is. Yeah. Mary Rice is their character's name. Oh, that's why he calls him Rice Ball, because his last name is Rice.
Oh my gosh.
And if only
connecting the dots.
And if only you know what? I take back everything I said. This movie is amazing and there's nothing wrong with it now that I understand that his last name is Rice. Fun fact, the only people to have last names in the movie are the Rice family. Everybody else is just Griffin or Millie or Roland. Or young Millie or young David. So that's great. That's so funny. Okay, so he calls him Rice Ball because his last name is Rice, which is such a terrible bully thing, but I'm not gonna give bullying notes on this show. Mostly because they'll get redirected back to me probably. If I give people good tips on how to tear someone down. So his sister is Kristen Stewart, which is wild. And seems like so random and unnecessary. She's literally in it. She says like 5 words and then leaves. because it's at the end of the movie. But then it drove me crazy with his mom, because his mom is like, I had to leave because you turned 5 and you jumped and you don't remember because you were 5 or whatever. And she's like, I either had to kill you or I had to leave. So I decided to leave. And he's like, okay, cool. And she's like, love you. And he's like, love you too. And then she's like, well, because I love you, I'm going to give you a head start. And it's like, okay, so now that he's an adult, you're totally cool with hunting him down and killing him.
I don't know. I took that to mean that she was like going to continue to protect him and that she was giving him a head start against the other people, like Samuel L. Jackson.
But then what would the second movie be about? If you're so dead set on a second movie, like wouldn't the second movie be about like him like running from his mom? Because Roland, Samuel L. Jackson, was like the most like powerful one besides his mom. Because it seems implied to me that his mom is like in charge. Like she's like the head paladin. Which is why she's not like on the ground as much as Roland. Like that's her like second in command. Like it's the kind of the vibe I got. Again, I don't know because they did not explain it.
Yeah, I mean, Roland knows now, so it could kind of involve them both.
And I mean, I guess Roland doesn't die.
No, because he makes a big deal about not killing him.
Yeah, he puts him in a cave, like up in the Grand Canyon, like way up high, and it just implied that he's either gonna die there or someone's gonna come find him somehow, which would probably be pretty easy to be found. Grand Canyon's pretty popular destination, so someone would hear him screaming as they go down the river. I mean, I don't know, I just feel like that's one of my bigger complaints too, is I really wanted more lore and like info about the paladins. Like, why are they on this crusade? It's literally just like no one but God should have this power, and then that's it. And then we get a little bit of Griffin being like they've been hunting jumpers since the Middle Ages and stuff, hence why they have the name paladin, because a paladin is a religious knight or like a knight that has some kind of like very specific thing that they devote their life to protect.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, that's a kind of like that's like the D&D explanation, like definition of a paladin, but like it's kind of what a paladin is a religious knight or a devout knight. That is, it could be to a concept, but traditionally it was a religious thing. You had like a deity that you were a knight for instead of just a knight for money or whatever. But like, and like I thought it was really cool. I was like, Paladin's a great name for what they're doing. It's like cool, they're on their crusade to like kill these people because they're an affront to God or whatever. But like, I still need a little bit more of like explanation, because it's literally just like only God should be able to teleport, or Samuel L. Jackson says like only God should be able to be everywhere at all times, which is a better way to put it, and like not the worst line ever. It's definitely not the worst line in this movie. But I don't know, I just like I wanted more attention paid to them and like what their whole thing is, because like at the end of the day they're just like, those are the bad guys, and they want to kill the good, or they want to kill the protagonist, and they're the antagonist. Because I'm not going to say that David is a good guy; he sucks.
Yeah, there's not necessarily a good guy.
Yeah, it's very Dune. Going back to Dune again, you know, fucking little Paul, he's not really a good guy. It's just who the book's about, you know.
Yeah.
Like, so it is what spoiler alert if you didn't know, Paul Atreides is a bad guy. He sucks. He is not an idol. You should not wear t-shirts with his face on it being like, I love him, he's the best. No, he is fucking Hitler. So yeah, stop.
Just wait.
So just stop right now. If you love him and he's your favorite character, he is a really interesting character, but do not idolize him because he is not good. But that's fine. Anyway, wow, ooh, I just kind of blacked out for a second. But
the Dune effect.
Yeah, it's the Dune. Just it just takes over sometimes. But yeah, I just wanted more. I wanted more history and like more stuff about the Paladins and stuff, because like that's cool. Like that's a cool little thing. But like, what are we doing here, guys? You know what I mean? Like, give me some more context and like Don't tell me they could do that in the second movie. Don't tell me that, because I need it now. Because I'm watching this movie.
But haven't we learned that people don't need much more than only God should be able to do this? Like, shouldn't we? I feel like we've learned that people don't need much more than that to like start a crusade.
See, and I knew you were gonna bring that up, because I literally had the thought of I was like, they're bad because of this one thing, like whatever. And like my thought was like, Ashley's gonna be like, so what? Star Wars needs more depth to the Sith. Like, isn't the Sith just the bad guys and it's just a good versus evil kind of story? And I was like, yes, but that's Star Wars and is better than this movie, is my rebuttal to that. Star Wars is a mythology that's about good versus evil. It's a retelling of a retelling of a retelling of a story. So it can be kind of surface level. That's the whole point. That's why they were written that way on purpose. This movie was not written that way. This movie is lazy.
Well, Star Wars also has a bunch of them. Like, if there were only one Star Wars, you would probably say, I wish there was more. Like, that there was more lore.
I mean, that's literally why we have so much Star Wars today. Like, the first movie was called Star Wars, not Star Wars A New Hope. It was just called Star Wars, and that was it. And then they were like, holy shit, we made a bunch of money off of this. Let's make a bunch more, and then we'll sell it to Disney, and we'll make a bunch of content that is mediocre at best, sometimes good. But here we are. And I won't go any further than that, because we're not talking about Star Wars right now. Good. I'm not to black out again.
I'm just trying to get you on like a Star Wars or Dune path hard.
No, please. I can't. I can't just be talking into this microphone all night. Because I will. But yeah, I don't know. And then British dude, I hate him. Can I just say that I hate Griffin?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think if they would have had like a more just someone better at comedic timing.
Not even the comedic timing part. Like, that part I was like, yeah, that sucks. But like, he literally proves Samuel L. Jackson's point about how they all eventually turn bad. He proves that point about less than 5 minutes after he says that to Hayden Christensen. He's like, what if I'm one of the good ones? And he's like, you all go bad eventually. And no less than 5 minutes, Griffin, they have their big fight scene like at his hideout, and Griffin jumps to London, and then jumps back with a double-decker bus that definitely had people on it, and slams it tries to throw it into Samuel L. Jackson and crush him with it. And now those people are either dead from the crash, or they are stuck in the middle of the desert, and that's just the end of it. I highly doubt he took the time to tell everybody to get off of the bus, because what we have seen from Griffin before is that he sucks and he only cares about himself.
Okay, didn't notice that. Didn't notice the people on the bus. My bad.
Well, as I was watching it, there wasn't anybody in the bus, but I'm like, there's no fucking way he took the time to tell people to get the fuck off the bus. Like, there's no fucking way. Like in the shot, you don't see people on the bus, but the bus, he just teleports it back. He's not driving it. So at the very least, the driver is still there, because when it falls onto the sand and it takes a hard right turn as if someone's turning the wheel. You know what I mean? Like, he did not, there's no way he found a parked one, because there's one coming at him, and then it cuts to that of it in the desert, like him like trying to throw it at Samuel L. Jackson and stuff. There's no way he took people off that bus. Those people are dead or are going to die in the middle of the desert, whatever desert it may be, and stuff, which proves Samuel L. Jackson's point that these guys kind of suck.
Well, it's an hour and 27-minute long movie, you know, like they got to get to it.
Again, and that's part of my problem. That's why a lot of these movies that we debate here is like, it's a lot of stuff from like 2010 and before, because movies used to be a lot shorter. They've realized people can handle a 2.5 hour long movie in the theaters. Like, I've seen in the past few years, like there's been like 3-hour movies that come out in theaters, and I sit there and I watch the entire thing, no problem. I wish there could be like an they go back to doing intermissions, or like they did like at plays, like quick little intermission, so you could like get a refill or like go to the bathroom or something. But like I'll sit in the theater for 4 hours and watch a 4-hour movie, no problem. And like they were starting to realize people can do that and want to do that, because some of the best content that's been out there is TV shows, and like people will sit and watch every single episode of a Netflix drop of whatever it is, like at once, as much as they can at one time. So attention spans aren't the problem. But back in the day, they were like, it's got to be less than 2 hours, can't be longer than 2 hours. Like there's no way. And like a lot of these movies that we talk about are like not even 2 hours, and I feel like it comes up a lot. Like if we had like 15 to 30 more minutes to give a little bit more explanation, or like a little bit more detail about the world we're in, or like world building, or like plot development, or like just character development, or like anything like that, like it would add a lot to some of these movies. Like Jumper would be a pretty good movie if it was like, I would say if it was 2 hours, that extra 30 minutes, maybe in 2 hours and 15 minutes, you got a little bit more about the paladin stuff. You got his mom in more than just 2 scenes, and like stuff like that. The movie would flow a lot better, because it would make just more sense. And then like Millie is like, you know, is the love interest and stuff, and she's like barely in the movie. It feels like she's so like memorable. Like
yeah,
even in the
she's just
scenes
there to kind of like tag along almost.
She's the only thing that gives him any kind of a like moral compass, or any kind of like thinking about somebody besides himself kind of a thing. And it's like, well, she should be featured more, and I want to know her better, because I don't like her. I'm like, she's whiny and annoying, and it's like, is she supposed to be the literal representation of his annoying conscience that's finally coming to him? Because if so, she did a great job. Her character's great. But if she's supposed to be a love interest and be like a full person, she sucks. Like,
yeah, I feel like they kind of, she's just there to make him likable in a way. Because without her, I don't know that he would be likable.
But he's not likable.
I mean,
even with her there, like,
he's more likable than he would be if she wasn't there.
I mean, I guess, yeah, because he'd still just be, you know, doing whatever the fuck he felt like. But like, I don't fucking know.
And why does he seek her out in the first place? That kind of is confusing to me. Like, he's just randomly, like 8 years later, okay, now that all this bad stuff is happening, now I'm gonna go seek her out.
Yeah, like that's kind of fucked up. I didn't even think about it like that. Like, everything's going great. He's banging people left and right, got all this money, this dope pad, and then shit starts to go bad, and he's like he's being hunted, like literally. And then he's like, I'm gonna go reconnect with my 15-year-old crush and bring her into this world that, when she was living a perfectly normal, happy life, but working as a bartender, had her own place, like probably just, you know, doing her thing, no big deal. Like, why did he rope her into this? Oh my god, I hate this movie so much. He's such a dick, dude. I do not like him at any moment in this movie, I think.
You know, now that you say that, I don't know that there's a moment that I particularly like him either.
Yep.
But I would still sit down and watch it, and I have multiple times.
Again, the other night when I watched this movie, I had seen this movie no less than 5 times.
Why?
Like, I have no idea. Like, I have seen it like at least 5 times, like 6 now. Like, I watched it over and over again when it first came out.
There's just something about it.
Like, I don't know. I like seeing Hayden. I like Hayden Christensen. Like, as a person, he deserves support. Like,
and I feel like at the time, it was at the time, I know it's got bad ratings and everything, but it was like a good movie to sit down and watch because it was easy. I mean, like, there's not a lot to think about because none of it really makes sense. So you're just sitting there and you're like, okay, this is happening.
Was that a defense for the movie?
Yes, that was for the movie.
Oh, okay. I thought you'd come to my side because I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't, you don't need to pay attention because it doesn't make any sense. Exactly. Like that kind of sucks. Like I don't like that.
No, that's nice because you just don't have to like figure out a plot hole. And the plots that you do need to follow, like the mom, they just lay it out there. They're like, this is his mom and something's got up with her. We'll tell you about it in a minute. And then they do.
At the very end, and then she's gone, and then because your precious little sequel never happened, you never get any more. You know what I mean? Like I do not think this is the defense you think it is, actually.
You know, I coming into this, I was like, you know what? This is a good movie and I'm going to be able to defend it. But you've got some good points, unfortunately.
Well, and you know what? I'll give credit to where credit is due. It's not me that have these good points. It's the movie. The movie made it very easy for me to find a bunch of shit that was annoying or dumb. Here's another good one. Here's a little fun one that I loved. After he, like a fucking douchebag idiot, punches his bully in the face at the bar when he's trying to reconnect Millie. They get into a fight. He jumps him to the vault that he and says and shows him, I have this fucking power, and then he leaves him there, and then he jumps back, and then like that wasn't even the point that I'm trying to make, or the thing that I thought that was stupid, but funny. He does that, which is stupid, but then he comes back, and she's like, oh, where's whatever his name is? And she's like, oh, he ran off. And then it cuts to her again. And she's like, you're bleeding. And then it cuts to him. And I have never seen a smaller amount of blood on a person in a movie where someone has said, you're bleeding to them. It is the tiniest bit of blood on his like eyelid or something. If you look at it real quick, it's like that's just a freckle. Like that's just like a freckle he has right there. Like it is the tiniest amount of blood I've ever seen to give like the like wounded soldier like, oh, I'm gonna take care of you, like that little moment in movies and shows that they do, you know, where like the girl's taking care of the guy because he's hurt.
Yeah.
Like the tiniest injury I've ever seen. And like, which just goes into your whole thing of like, he really can't take a hit, huh? Like
he's just a little baby.
He's just a little baby, apparently. And I'm just like, I hate him so much. I hate this character. I just had to bring that up too, because I was like, the smallest amount of blood I've ever seen after someone says you're bleeding. Like just
she just
truly
wanted
insane.
to take care of him, you know?
I get it. We all do. Oh, also, it was such a blast from the past when they finally bang when they're in Rome and it plays that Frey song, the Frey.
Yeah.
What's it called? Look After You or whatever, something like that. Oh my god, Austin! Like it started up and I was like, "Oh, Austin, you remember this song?" And she was like, "Wait, what?" And it was like playing, and then she like we got to the chorus and we were both like, fuck yeah, man, the Fray is so good. And then we were like, oh yeah, the movie's still on, I guess we gotta pay attention because they're done fucking, so we gotta watch them do whatever they're doing next. That was my favorite part of the movie, is that they had the Fray in there. I'm gonna retroactively say that now. That was my favorite part, is they had the Fray in the soundtrack, and the Fray rocks to this day. So fucking funny. Also,
what were you gonna say?
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I don't think I knew that song. Like I didn't recognize it.
The Fray when they fuck?
No, I did not know the song.
Do you not know the Fray?
Not apparently. Apparently, I didn't know your favorite part of the movie, and I didn't even know it.
That's crazy. That's absolutely insane. It's fine. It's a good song. I feel like you did hear it because you watched the movie. And you heard it then. I had something I was gonna say, but I can't remember what it was. Got busy talking about the Fray. I was about to go on a Fray blackout and talk about the Fray. Something about they were fucking and like, yeah, that's great. I don't fucking know. All I know is this movie is not good. Oh, here's one. Electricity. How does that stop him? Could you give me any kind of explanation? Like,
he said it's hard to jump when there's electricity volts going through your brain or something. So I think it's like a concentration thing.
Well, that which is very D&D, which is pretty dope because you can, if you get hit, you lose concentration on concentration spells, which is dope. But that's neither here or there. So I mean, a couple D&D things in here, which is cool. But still, I just like, okay, I don't know, like, right, like I guess
It's like, here's one for the nerds.
Yeah. Well, I like that part too, I guess. I guess I also just didn't like that, like, I just really hated him because he's such a cocky asshole, like when they break into the Coliseum. And he has just like such a douchebag energy about breaking into the Coliseum, and she just eats it up and she just loves it. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, are you kidding me?
It's showing that he's never had to, like, he's never not gotten what he wanted. He's gotten everything that he wants just because he's been able to just jump and get whatever he needs. And so this one situation where she's not able to jump, it's kind of showing his frustration with normal life, I guess.
Yeah, it's like he's never had to, no one or anything has ever been able to say no to him ever since he started like honing his jumping. It's like you can't, like, there is no door he can't get through, so he can do whatever he wants. Like, sure, I mean, that makes sense. I think that explains
like the kind of the reason that what are they called again, the
paladins,
why the paladins have such a problem with them.
But yeah, you could do like a whole George R.R. Martin like prequel, like House of the Dragon type book where it's like the history of the paladins and stuff. Like, give me that.
Yeah.
I want that. Like, I want that. I need a little bit of that in this movie. And that's what I mean by like the world building and like stuff like that, that I'm like, why is there not more of like that? Besides, it's literally paladins bad, David good. And like in this kind of a movie, I don't think that works, you know?
Yeah, like you need a little bit more. I feel like they did try in like those little moments where they're like, okay, you see how much he sucks and that they suck. So that's exactly why the paladins are doing all this, because this power kind of makes you a douchebag.
But again, why have they been doing it since the Middle Ages, man? You know, like, I love lore.
And I want to know how she had a son that jumped, because I would think that would be somewhat genetic.
See, yeah, and that's another thing. Yeah, exactly. Like, how does it work? Is it like the X-Men, like where it's just like there's mutants? Again, it comes from a comic book, so like, is it just like where just like some people just have a mutation with like the gene in them and stuff? But if they did have the gene in them and she was a paladin, wouldn't you think they'd be able to track it? And she could just be like, cool, I'm gonna get my tubes tied and never have a kid because I could produce one and I don't want to have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't they be able to like notice? Like, there's got to be some kind of a marker that I would think the paladins, if they've been working on eradicating them for that long, some kind of a blood test where you could like check and like see. But again, we don't get the lore for it, and it's fine. I also have a question about so he has all this money in his backpack all the time. How does he get that through airport security without someone being like, why do you have all this cash when he does have to go on a plane?
Yeah, and how does he have a passport? I just don't. Yeah.
Why would he even have a passport? Why would he even have one? Unless he has to go to the places physically first and then he can jump there after. Which, again, not a problem because he has all the money in the world because he can just rob it from a bank. But like, how does this work?
And then also him leaving the notes and being like, I owe you.
Yeah, what the fuck? That's so fucking stupid. So fucking stupid.
I want to know his plan for paying it back. Like,
he was never going to do that. He was never going to do that.
So why leave the notes?
Because he's fucking douchebag. That's a douchebag thing to do.
Like, I guess that's right.
Also, just like the what's it called? The when he's like oh my god, what am I trying to say? Oh, the foreshadowing of like, oh, this guy tried to jump a building and he died. You can't jump something that big. And it's like, so he's going to jump a building for sure. David's going to for sure jump a building by the end of this movie. And he jumps her entire apartment into the river that he first fell into. And then they jump from there into the library that he second jumped into after he accidentally fell into the river. Wow. That's dope. So fucking cool. God. And then also, how did fucking Samuel L. Jackson get into the library after that? He can't jump. How did he just appear?
The machine or the crack that was under the scars?
That was the machine that was underwater and probably not functioning at that point because it was in a lake or like a river or whatever.
Maybe that's
and you
why
can't just like and you can't just like
maybe
don't say it. Don't say it. Don't fucking say it. I know exactly what you're.
That's maybe...
absolutely not.
Yeah, to me that actually makes it better. I'm tripling down on this movie based on that.
So you're pitching that Samuel L. Jackson's character Roland is so devout of a paladin because he's self-loathing because he's actually a jumper.
Yes. 100%. That is what I'm saying.
Okay, but besides anything except for where give me one more example of where that's like we get any indication that could be possible. Like he appears in the library somehow at the end. Okay, so maybe he jumped there. Any other moment in the movie and I'll consider it.
Okay, little British guy.
Yes.
He talks about how he hasn't been able to catch him for years and he doesn't know why. So that in combination with him just showing up in the library.
No, that's not good enough. That's not good
when you
enough.
Think about all the other like
I've been thinking a lot.
The half explanations, it works.
I'm furious. I'm furious about that. I cannot believe that you're legitimately throwing that as a theory right now.
I think it's a good
one.
If
it came up, it'd be great for the second movie, but also it's just one of those things that's like the ending of a story is not supposed to leave questions. If you want a sequel or a follow-up story or the story to continue, you have to leave it off on a cliffhanger that's like, what's the example? It's like your hero is on the way back to their village from the mission that they completely accomplished and everything is completely tied up, wrapped up in a nice bow, no loose ends, but then they come back and their village is being burned to the ground. And so it's like everything in the story you just witnessed is answered, but their village is being burned to the down. So what? So and it can end right there and not go forward and be like, so what was the point? If he would like, oh, like is it like there's like a thematic reason you could have the village burned down? That's the end. Or it could be like, well, now they got to figure out what's going on with the village. Not is this person also a superhero? Is this person also a thing that could happen? Because if it's like if the next movie opened with Roland jumping in front of him, being like, you thought I was gonna die up in that cave, I would walk out of the movie theater. I would be so mad.
I mean,
I'd be so mad.
It's pretty safe to like actually end the story, you know? Like they're just experimenting with story.
They're experimenting with story.
Yes, that is what I'm going with.
They are live experimenting with.
We need to see the director's cut. That's what we need.
If there is a director's cut out there, I would love to watch it. I would legitimately watch that.
See, that tells me that this is a good movie since it at least got you to that point.
No, but I'm also still so mad at you and will never forgive you for he's a jumper and he hates himself and that's why he's so good at being a paladin. I will never forgive you.
No, that's like a classic trope. That's definitely...
Yeah, that has no basis in the reality of this fucking movie.
That like, doesn't stop it from being true. I'm going to read the books now. I'm going to read the books to find out.
Honestly, if you legitimately text me in a couple days, like or like whenever, if you get the comics, I will get the comics, and we should both read them and see what's up, and then we'll bring you back on for a little bonus episode that's like, all right, well, now we have more context.
Now that we understand
the entire world as is laid out in the comics, and I promise you it's still gonna suck, this movie. The comics might be good, but the movie's still gonna fucking blow, because now it's gonna be like they ruined an amazing story and they fucked it all up. Like, we'll see about that.
Yeah. Is it comics or is it a book? Why did I think it was a book?
I'm pretty sure it's a comic. Let me double check, but I think it's a comic. Let's see, where's the buttons? Jumper. Click. That is not how you spell words. Okay. There we go. Comic Jumper? What? Is there a Jumper comic? Nope, that can't be right. Oh, that can't be right at all. That cannot be right. Okay, let me try book. Jumper novel. Okay. Yep, okay. It is a book, not a comic book. I was wrong. The cover looks like a comic book. But yeah, it is a oh, damn. Oh shit. The plot on Wikipedia, just the very first sentence, it is okay, so the book is already a lot harder hitting. So you know how he jumps because he falls into the river?
Yeah.
That's the first time David jumps. Also, apparently he's Davy Rice, so apparently he's called Davy a lot more, which is weird. He is being physically abused by his father.
Oh God.
When he jumps for the first time. But he does jump to the library, so they kept that part. Weird. Interesting. Okay. Oh, and he meets Millie at a play when he's 21.
Okay.
Interesting.
This is already wildly different.
Yeah, this is so different. Oh, and then Mark, who's the bully, was actually her ex-boyfriend, not just a bully. Okay. Yeah, but see, this is already hitting a lot better. All right. How long is the book? Let's see. It's 344 pages. Easy. That's nothing.
Yeah, I'll probably read that now.
That's easy. Yeah, we should both read the book, because I'm very like, it already sounds so much more interesting, to be honest. Like, it already sounds like a much better story. Like especially like Millie being a girl he meets when he's already like an established jumper, instead of like, because like, yeah, they're like, why are you bringing this girl in to this mess that you're in right now? All right, we're both gonna read the book, and then we'll talk about it even further. I don't think I have any more things to shit on about this movie. Like, I feel like I've done everything I can at this point to talk shit about this movie.
I mean, okay, hold on. Apparently, it's at least been other people have theorized this Roland thing.
What? That's not just an off the dome Ashley like bullshit argument. That's like an actual theory that people have been talking about. What if that's what he is in the book?
I don't know. I'll have to look that up. I'll have to sit with that. But I still stand by it either way.
If you send me, honestly, if you like, no shit, send me a recap of your deep dive on that theory, I would be so happy.
Yes, I can do that.
Like, that would be dope. Oh wait, there is a sequel to the book.
Yeah.
Called Reflex. Interesting. 10 years after the conclusion of Jumper. All right. But the movie was so bad that they never made another one, which is fine, and that makes sense. And I'm okay with that. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say to shit on this movie. Do you have anything else to change my mind?
You know, no. You had some good points. I will say, I think we can both agree that if the movie was just a little bit longer or had a sequel, that it could have potential to be a good movie.
I do have one more thing. And again, this goes to your sequel theory. You're like, this is why they needed a sequel. He throws Griffin in the power lines after they jump around the world while they fight, you know, because of the bomb or whatever, which was like not a useful plot device in the entire movie at all. Like it was like, oh my God, there's a bomb. They're fighting over the detonator. And then it was just like, okay, well, bomb's gone, whatever. Doesn't matter. He throws him into power lines. So he's getting electrocuted. And then that's it. And that's the last time we see Griffin. So is he dead? Does someone come and get him out? Does he get out on his own and comes to hunt him down because he's mad at him now? Like what's going on? Like what? Like that's a pretty big unresolved thing in my opinion.
Yeah,
like
he just doesn't care. He just continues
push him in there
on.
and he's like, fuck you, I'm gonna go save the love of my life. She was always the one. I'm gonna go save her now. Like, all right, great, awesome. And this dude just fucked now. Like he's in an active war zone. Like, because that's like the last place they transport is an active war zone, and he like just throws him in some power lines and he's just like getting electrocuted and just like not being able to jump. And also like that will eventually kill him. Someone's going to have to get him out of there pretty soon.
Yeah.
Like, so you got to assume like he's probably dead. Roland might still be alive, but Griffin's probably dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there was just no character development for Hayden. Like or David, whatever.
No, I hate him.
I hate him. They just needed to develop, like, he just needed to improve a tiny bit.
He just goes back to being a complete and total badass. The only difference is he only slays one girl now, dude. Yeah. He's monogamous as hell once he's got his baddie with him forever. God, fuck him. Fuck him. Like, he's so annoying. I hate him so much.
He's cute, though.
Yeah, he's cute, but that's, again, besides the point. It helps, but it's not enough. It helps, but it's not enough is all I can say about him being cute or not.
Yeah.
Which he is. So, I don't know. That's all I got to say about that. I'm still very much in the camp that it's bad. I can win, or we can let the people decide, and I can put up the poll on Insta, and the people can decide, and then we'll know for sure. But I cannot in good conscience revert to it is good now.
I mean, I don't think I can fully revert to it is bad, because I had some pretty good theories, like my Samuel L. Jackson is actually a jumper,
right,
and just hates himself. I think that's a pretty big plot twist that I'm gonna stick with.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Please, again, do the deep dive and send me the info, and then we're both going to read this book. I'll see if I can find it. If I can find this book at work and get 2 copies, I will mail you a copy so you can have one for free. I'll set a reminder as soon as we get off. I'll set a reminder because I have to work tomorrow. So like I'll check, see if I can find it.
Yeah.
See if it's coming at work. And if there is, I'll send you the first copy, and then I'll wait for the second copy. I can't imagine it was a super popular book, if I'm being honest. So like that means we either have a bunch of it or we have none of it. Yeah. So there's no in between for this kind of a book. Like we either have a bunch of them because everybody hated it, or no, everybody's kept them because they like it. But we shall see. All right, well, I guess we're going to let the people decide on this one. Some very compelling arguments from yours truly. Some interesting bullshit theories from Ashley, which would make the movie a lot more interesting if there was any evidence to back it up, which Ashley will report back to me, hopefully. Like, just like do a little Google search and be like, yep. There it is. Here's the article I read that said, like, I'll happy to read it. And then we're maybe going to both read the book and we'll go from there. But yeah, I'm saying it's bad. You're sticking with good, and Hayden Christensen being cute
yes.
is top. like that's one of the most important things. I think that was your most important argument.
Yeah.
Your most reverted back to argument.
Yes.
At least, which is fine.
That's the best.
And again,
you can't dispute that one,
And again, it is you can't disagree on that. I will even say you're wrong about that one, because it's just a fact. He is. All right, well, I guess we'll see what happens. I'll put that poll out on Insta. That's at Bad Movie Debate, all one word, all lowercase, on Instagram. That's the only social media I use, so fucking hit me up there if you want to get in on that. If you want to make Ashley right by default by voting for her and voting against me, which is fine. Do whatever you do. Follow me on there for that, and I don't think I have anything. I don't think I have anything else. Ashley, is there anything you want to plug or anything you want to tell people to watch or anything like that? Asia reverted last episode. Asia was like, yes, everybody needs to be paying attention to the Drake and Kendrick beef because it's the most important thing happening in pop culture and in hip hop right now. Do you have anything that you want people to be paying attention to, like whether it's pop culture or not related? Anything at all?
No, my only thing would be Bridgerton. And I don't think that's a thing for the dudes. So, ladies, watch Bridgerton. I also
don't think you need to plug that because most of the people that I know that listen to this show that would watch that show already watched that
exactly
show, for sure. Austin watched the entire show and the movies in less than a week, I think, which is crazy for her. That's a very fast pace for her to watch an entire 3 seasons and a movie of a show. So yeah, I guess watch Bridgerton if you're not already on that and you think you would like historical romance Regency where the drama is them watching each other dance and whispering behind each other's backs.
That's pretty accurate. Yeah, that was really good.
I came in one night from work and Austin was watching a scene and it was a orchestral version of Wrecking Ball playing while they were dancing. It was cutting to the people dancing. I don't know anything about the show, so I don't even ask me who or what or anything. I only know that was the song playing. And they were dancing, and it was cutting to people talking, and then like cutting to people like in other spaces while this was happening and the music was playing. And I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? And Austin was like, shut up. This is super intense. And I was like, they're literally just dancing and whispering to each other. And she was like, yeah. You don't understand. And I was like, all right, I'm just gonna make some food and let you finish your episode. So if you're into stuff like that, Bridgerton all day, baby.
Hell yeah.
All right, well, fair enough. That sounds good. Do not let me know what you think about Bridgerton. Anybody out there, I do not care. I do not care. If you like it, great. I will not watch it. But Ashley recommends it, so you should watch it if you think it's right for you. All right, well, that's the end of that. So good night and goodbye, everybody. Ash, I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.